Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ESL Pro League. This is, of course, the final match day, and we are covering Astralis going up against EnVyUS on this particular stream. And boy, oh boy, is it going to be a very, very exciting match right here. Now, first of all, we need to keep in mind the ESL Pro League current standings as they are incredibly close, with 6 teams rather, being in competition for the top 6 spot right now. Of course, North and Mousesports are the only 2 teams guaranteed to go forward to Dallas, Texas for the finals of the ESL Pro League. The next 6 teams are still in the running, and any one of them can be eliminated today. Any one of them can go on today, and it's going to be a very exciting game that we have on our hands. Astralis going up against EnVyUS, a game that would be considered a bit of a whitewash in favor of the Danes, but we've got some interesting facts right here that we will be discussing pretty soon that might indicate that EnVyUS could take the game 1-1. But first of all, let's talk a little bit about the overall matchup. The last time these two teams actually played was on the 2nd of November back in last year, and of course we need to keep in mind that game was won by EnVyUS, but of course, that game was a different roster from EnVyUS, and that game famously was one where Kenny S went absolutely insane, hitting that 30 bomb in both particular games of a best-of-3 series. Now, this is a completely different roster. This has a completely different skill cap, skill ceiling, one which has yet to be achieved, and the question is, can the Frenchmen achieve that in this game, and can they eke out at least one victory? And that's what we really want to keep in mind, that right now EnVyUS need at least one victory to be eligible to potentially move forward in towards the top 6, in towards the finals, in towards a tiebreaker situation. And let's actually take a look at a few of the notes that we've actually prepared right here, and keep in mind, and try to keep in mind, the few possibilities that are likely in which EnVyUS can actually progress forward. Now, EnVyUS right now are sitting on number 8 in the positions, right behind Fnatic and Na'Vi, who are tied 13-11. EnVyUS is currently 12-12, and Astralis sitting at 14-10. Now, we need to keep in mind, if EnVyUS is able to win both of their games, then Astralis and EnVyUS will both be tied at a 14-12, and a few other games could potentially be tied as well. Now, the other way that EnVyUS can reliably get in towards the top 6 is if both Na'Vi and Fnatic lose their series 2-0, and EnVyUS is able to take this game 1-1, if nothing else, and that will put us into a tiebreaker situation with 4 teams being at 13-13. And of course, to give a quick recap of who Na'Vi and Fnatic are going up against, in case there are any EnVyUS fans out there, Na'Vi is playing up against Heroic, and Fnatic going up against Mousesports. Mousesports definitely has got to be the favorite to be able to win that one to 2-0. Having been performing incredibly well so far in the ESL Pro League, they still do have the potential to be able to take the number 1 seed. And Na'Vi, on the other hand, going up against Heroic, it's a team that they should theoretically beat out at any day of the week. However, we need to keep in mind Na'Vi has been having a bit of a dry spell, and they haven't really been playing all too well, all too effectively. And Heroic definitely always have had upset potential over any team at all. Least of all, a Na'Vi that's down on their luck and relies on Guardian and Simple to show up at a time where they really aren't showing up too much. However, enough about that. Let's move back over towards the EnVyUS and Astralis matchup and take a look at the map picks. The maps that have been picked so far have been, and I realize I sound very robotic, but that's mostly because I've got my little notebook over here. The maps that have been picked up so far have been Train and Inferno, of course, the first map being Train. And that's something that, although you typically think of Astralis and you immediately think one of their best maps being historically being Train, it just has to be said Astralis has not been performing all that well recently on that map. They've lost 5 out of 6 of their previous Train maps, even with 3 of their most significant matches that I would like to really highlight over here are the 16-12 being the only victory they have over G2 in the ESL Pro League, a victory that was soon reversed as G2 was able to very quickly rebound back with another 16-12 win on the very same map. Astralis being a little bit weak on this map and showing weakness in particular up against FaZe and up against Ninjas up against FaZe and up against VP. And those are the two maps that we're going to be highlighting to be able to show how EnVyUS can actually take this one and be able to give them a little bit of a chance to moving in towards the top 6. Now, in particular, these two games, FaZe was able to take it 16-9 over Astralis back in IEM Sydney, and VP was actually able to take it 16-8, and in both of these games, Astralis was completely crushed on their CT side, and it really seems like the only way to be able to reliably take a victory away from Astralis, because we need to keep in mind, in those 5 out of 6 games that they lost, they did achieve more than 10 rounds in 4 of their losses regardless. Now, in the other 2 games that we're highlighting, they were completely shut out on their CT side, not really being able to hit their shots, not really being able to do anything up against the overwhelming onslaught of the terrorist side of FaZe and Virtus.pro, 2 teams that are infamously good at it. So EnVyUS right now, their key lies in the pistol round of the T side. If they're able to take that, transition into the first 5 rounds and eke away another 3 rounds here or there, then they definitely have a very solid chance of being able to take this map. With that being said, though, we have to move in towards predictions at the end of the day, and predictions have to be, well, it has to be a very, very overwhelming favorite in the favor of Astralis, the Danes, the number 1 team in the world, up against the number 28 team in the world. It really isn't much of a competition. However, to say that EnVyUS doesn't have a chance at all, I would say that's not true. We can discuss Inferno when that comes up, but for now, we're going to be moving into train very shortly. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We should be going live very soon. Just waiting for a few last server things to be finalized for the players to settle down properly, and then we will be good to go. Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting off with EnVyUS on the T side. Astralis picking up the CT side, their considerably favored side. And EnVyUS, they will have the opportunity to prove themselves right now to be able to triumph over the CT squadron, the Danish team, the #1 team in the world right now. And let's see how they're looking to do it. Sixer, the only man with utility so far. They're prioritizing a bit more of a dual heavy strategy where they're going to be trying to close some distance. So probably the B side is where they will be hitting. We'll have to wait to find out though, as we are seeing Astralis setting up with 3 players on that A side, 1 player ready for that quick rotation, and of course Zipnix pushed up as aggressively as he likes to. Backs himself off back towards the coal train though, and he will be scouting up towards scaffolding instead. Happy has taken a few hits from the IV players, and they're deciding to hit that B side, already clustering around it. More than ready to go, just need to get Sixer over to set up, but already Astralis with their mid-round calls, they are looking to rotate a few people over now that a man has found out so much information over towards that IV side. Kirby pushing all the way through, but XMS, he's ready to push in. Just waiting for the smoke to go through, and now it's there. Device will find himself blocked off completely. The flashbang does blind him out completely. In the meanwhile, though, Zipnix is the man to open things up. XMS trades it out, though. Dupree goes down. Glaive finds one, as he was lurking in the background. Sixer goes down, and Scream, he is going to be the next one to follow as Glaive. He doesn't have armor, but doesn't look like he needs it with that USP. He's just tapping away. Scream down at 26, and XMS, he's at 76 for himself. Meanwhile, though, it will be Zipnix to take it back to make it into a 1v3 for Happy, who's found his way from the backside. Zipnix down to 2 HP. The man defusing. What's his situation right now? Looks like he will be able to get it. And Astralis, they win the round convincingly. Happy just being a little bit late on the lurk, and in typical Happy fashion does leave himself to be the last man standing, the last player alive, but unfortunately just isn't working out for him. The bomb wasn't planted for him. Perhaps he would have been able to do a little bit more if it was. And leaving the players with the numbers disadvantage over towards that B site just proved deadly for them. And now, EnVyUS are in a very tricky situation because they needed that pistol round. Now they just need to make sure that Astralis isn't really able to get too much with those UMPs. They haven't gone for a single set of armor. The only people with any guns purchased are a few Deagles and a P250 on Happy. So we're going to have to wait and look towards Scream and XMS to maybe find some one-dinks. And if they're able to do that, that would be absolutely phenomenal. Device, though, he doesn't want to risk it. He doesn't want to risk that close-range pistol battle as he backs himself off, having smoked off Pop Dog. Dupree will be covering it instead. The Device down to 35, didn't want to risk it. And what a wise decision that was. XMS more than ready, but Dupree sees him through the smoke, takes him down. And that's going to be one man down for the French, one man up for the Danes. And immediately you see how they're positioning themselves so aggressively across the map. This is why they are considered one of the best CT sides on this map, but it will be Happy pushed up through Ivy, looking for a player. Device could be found out, but they've got the perfect crossfire established already. RPK in the meanwhile, he's having some trouble. Scream finds one, Device gets turned around, but Happy will go down regardless. Kirby making short work of him, and RPK, the last man left, will not be left alive for much longer. 2-0 and Astralis are able to cement their lead, not losing a single player, so the money will be racking up for them. And we might even see the AWP coming through in the next round if Dupree is able to get a few kills with that UMP right now. Can buy that up, throw it over towards Device. Not to say that Device won't be able to buy it up himself as well. He's sitting on a fat stack of cash. And EnVyUS, though, they're going for the third round buy, courtesy of that bomb plant coming out in the first round. The question is, how effective will they be with the lack of utility that they have? And we're going to be finding that out very soon. RPK might be taking the first duel. They're looking for some aggression over towards Ivy, but instead they're actually positioning themselves for that execute. XMS more than ready to be able to push through, but Dupree, he hears the footsteps. He knows where they are, top of ladder, and he's made the calls to be careful. And immediately that's why you see Glaive rotating out, ready to use that Molotov, that incendiary, over towards that B side. XMS, though, along with Scream, pushing through towards Ivy. Kirby has backed himself off, knows that he's got no backup, knows that he's all alone, and EnVyUS is looking to hit that bomb site. Glaive again over towards that B site, just waiting and seeing, but now the calls must be coming through as Astralis are using their smokes over towards that A site. EnVyUS will have this down to the wire. XMS pushing forward. Kirby might be taken down over here. Does cop a few bullets, but will be smoked off at the end of the day. Can he find a few shots through the smoke? Throws out that Molotov. Will be flashed out entirely, but now they're finding their way over. It's Dupree to take down RPK despite the flashbang. And again, on the side, it's Device. He needs to be able to hold this out. XMS scouts him out. Gets taken down immediately, though. Scream on the other side gets one before he's traded away. Glaive is the man escorting him to the depths of hell. That's Happy once again on the lurk. Coming from the back line, Sixa will be able to take down Device. No, despite having the angle, holding it unsuccessfully. And Happy will be the last man to fall as always. Astralis get the first 3 rounds, and EnVyUS, they're at a monetary disadvantage. They will be forced to save up yet again. And we talked about how important it is for EnVyUS to be able to take away this T-side half. We talked about how that is the only way teams are able to convincingly beat Astralis. And it really does look like they're in a very difficult situation, as they have been left once again on an eco round. Scream with the Deagle is pushing through. Can he find one? Kirby drops down immediately. The incendiary will block his path. The Device, he's able to use that bloom to his advantage. XMS in the meanwhile finds Glaive with a grenade in his hands, but will be traded away. No, never mind actually. RPK is there to back him up and takes away Zipnik's. Great play coming out from the Frenchman, as they have managed to secure a gun for themselves. Will XMS be saving this in towards the next round? Could potentially buy up an AWP. I'm not sure. But he does throw it over towards Sixer. Of course, the wise move, the full HP player. No Kevlar on him, otherwise he could have looked to take away a few more guns. A little bit unfortunate, perhaps. And Astralis, this is what I like about them. This is what they do very effectively on maps where economy is just so incredibly important with the utility and everything. They do not overextend whatsoever. They know that Sixer has a gun in his hands. They say it doesn't matter. There's 50 seconds left on the clock. It's very likely that EnVyUS will be the people making a move. They've got possession of the bomb, and they will be trying to go for a few lucky plays. If they can get a headshot, if they can get the bomb plant down, that would be massive. They leave Device over towards ladder to account for the rotation. And the only way that EnVyUS could feasibly get themselves on towards a bomb site is if they go all the way back through Ivy or A main. But now Kirby, he hears the footsteps, he sees one, and he will be able to take him down. It's raining men indeed as Sixer gets taken out. And again, the buy coming out on EnVyUS without the AWP, it's not really the biggest of deals considering that it is Train, and the T-side AWP really isn't all that effective. However, even with those AKs, their utility is completely lackluster. Only 2 Molotovs in their hands and a handful of smokes. Not going for the UMPs on any one of their players. Perhaps a bit of a mistake given the current metagame being as utility heavy as it is. But they're going for a fast play out through Electric Box, but they will be taken down. RPK finds the opener, gets traded out immediately. Device with the AWP will connect with the shot. XMS can't quite sneak past, and there's a second one onto Sixer. Third could be coming through, but that's Happy to find the shots, brings him down to 16. But Device, he runs away with his life and with his big green gun. Much more importantly, Device finds one more. It's been 3 in this round so far for him. And Happy is left in a 1 versus 4. This seems to be the story of the game. The Molotov will flush him out and he will be taken down soon. Kirby has been spotted. And Happy backs himself off for now. Back towards that Ivy side where Device is holding the angle. Is actually pushing forward aggressively. Could be taking down Happy, but with Happy and Device both being an equivalent HP, this could go either way. Pull out your gun. Happy, no, no, no. Little bit unfortunate over there. Device finding 4 kills in that round. Beautiful stuff from him, and that's just the positioning you can see from him. Make sure that he's not playing in a very aggressive angle. He's just there to be able to receive EnVyUS as they try and rush onto the side. The AWP just being so incredibly effective in situations like that. And now again, EnVyUS, they've got the money to be able to buy up a little bit more utility this time because Sixer and XMS have chosen to go for the Tech 9s instead of the AKs. And let's see if they're going to be changing things up a little bit. Kirby pushing through with a flashbang to help him out. Happy gets taken down. And now it's on towards the B side. Dupree hears their footsteps. He's rushing up ladder. He could cut them all off. Scream gets taken down. Moving forward, backs off immediately. Finds out the information, knows where they are. And now you see the rotations coming out. He will be blocking off one, but RPK, he's got the taps. He's got another one as well with Sixer pushing through the Tech 9. Not prevailing. 2 versus 3. Which will be equalized. RPK doing the honors, but Kirby trades it out. Dupree is going for the rotation back, but with a minute left on this clock, Sixer definitely has potential to be able to clutch this out. Bomb is in his possession. Utility, the only thing that he's lacking right now, full on HP. Has the time on his side, but with a Molotov and a smoke apiece on the Astralis side, this could be deadly, and the key player to look out for will of course be Dupree. Over and connector, ready for that rotation, and they're just so unsure about where Sixer is going from. And I love this play coming out from him. He recognizes that they might be able to keep an eye out onto T main, but he's risking it anyway. He knows that he wants to have some time to play with to be able to get that bomb plant down, so doesn't go for the IV play. Could come back to haunt him though. 20 seconds left on the clock and he needs to get this plant out. Hurry up. It will be a tricky one as they have both made their way over, realizing that he is going to be hitting that A side. 10 seconds left on the clock. He's going for the plant. Can he get it in time? Dupree's going to be pushing through. He will be able to find the feet, and in the end will take him down. 6-0. Astralis will extend their lead. And Sixer just having his feet spotted out from underneath the train. A little bit unfortunate over there. And this is where I have to say, EnVyUS, you call a timeout, you try and figure out what's going wrong, you try and figure out how Astralis is shutting you down every single time. A 6-0 deficit this early on in a half that you had to absolutely, and yeah, that's where you see the pause coming through, that's where you see the tactical timeout coming out from EnVyUS. The question, though, is what is going wrong for them? How is Astralis shutting them down this consistently? And it has to be said that so far, it's just been Kirby and Dupree completely shredding them as they're trying to enter onto these sites. RPK has been doing a decent job so far, has found a few great entry frags. But unfortunately, Astralis is just playing with such great crossfires, they're just playing with such great CS that they're able to trade it out every single time. And EnVyUS, This is where you maybe go for a bit of a slower execute style play. You try and bait Astralis out by using your own utility. Then very quickly go for the execute. Use those Molotovs to be able to flush Device out of his comfort zone. But unfortunately, so far, it doesn't look like they've been able to do that. We have to see whether or not they will be able to find a good adjustment, though, as the pause does get cancelled, as it does get resumed, rather, as a 6-0 in favor of Astralis. And we need to keep in mind, this was, of course, EnVyUS's map pick. This was the map that they had the highest chance to be able to take off of Astralis. After this is Inferno, a map which Astralis completely control and almost never lose to a tier 2 team in. So Envy, they've got their work cut out for them as it is. Zipnik's now getting a little bit aggressive. He will find himself lashed through. Never mind, backs himself off. Will not have to face that flashbang. RPK safely makes it across, and the question is, can he find a few kills over here? He's gone out through scaffolding, could find 2, lines him up, is able to connect, and that's what he needed right there. And then Dupree could be found out as well. A 3 for RPK to open up the round. How can you possibly lose this one out in a 5 versus 2? And Astralis, they might be forced to recognize that as well. The rotations are coming through, the ball making its way back from the A side over towards B. But will they make the mistake of going into team main? I hope not. Locker room, Scream finding his way onto ladder, and again Device left in a 1 versus 5 will have his life taken away from him soon. RPK finds that kill, and Sixer with the AWP not quite come into effect yet, but they have the double op set up on EnVyUS now on the T side. Very, very risky, and I have to say they're not quite giving Astralis a respect that they deserve if they're going for this double op. RPK with a phenomenal 3K to open things up in the previous round, yes, but you can't rely on that every single time. You can't rely on Astralis' players getting sloppy and not checking scaffolding, despite knowing that a player has crossed through. And immediately you see the shot coming out of the glaive. He's tagged down to 64. Not quite the best start to things, but again, RPK has managed to cross over towards his romping grounds, and he's going to be trying to go for the same thing. Glaive, but he's ready for this. No, RPK finds him in midair, can't quite connect with a full down spray down. Zipnix, though, does get the kill. And RPK, I was worried there for a second, but Happy is right behind. He could connect with the shot a little bit late, but the grenade will bring down Glaive. It's a Kobe. Kirby has got the angle, pulls out the grenade. That's not a good idea, Kirby. But it doesn't matter because Device trades it out. Sixer once again brings the man advantage back into EnVyUS's courtyard, and he will be left alone in a 1 versus 2 as Happy gets eliminated. And for once, Happy is not the last man standing. EnVyUS, though, this is terrifying for them. If they lose this one out, if Sixer isn't able to clutch this, then this will be a full economic reset. They will not have the money to be able to buy in towards the next round or the subsequent one. This could be a double eco to follow. And right now, Dupree will ensure it as he has that AWP picked up from his fallen teammate's body. Finishes things off. And 7-1, Astralis reset EnVyUS, and EnVyUS, this is their last chance to be able to take this away. They've got one last buy in them. And if not, then Astralis will definitely at least break 11 rounds. Already well on their way as EnVyUS are a little bit lacking on utility in this round once again. RPK, the question is, can he once again get a hero play? Can he once again find out that one player who is consistently over towards the back of B? Or will Astralis change things up? Will Astralis finally recognize this? But speaking of changing things up, they're not actually sending RPK over towards that back of B, towards the back of B. Instead, they're just keeping him around to lurk in ladder room, and they're going for an A-side execute, something a little bit more standard. Kirby, though, using the Molotov, using the smoke early on. Not that minute mark which you're used to for the CT side, and this might come back to haunt Team EnVyUS, as now the execute comes through. Dupree has pushed all the way over towards ladder, which is where RPK will be pushing down from. Will Dupree be able to find the skill is the question, though. He's gonna fake the jump, and immediately you see Kirby. He's gonna be in the consequential situation once again. The Molotov will be blocking him out. Needs to back himself off. Has got the cover of smoke, but can't quite utilize it. This is a very difficult situation. He needs to be able to find at least one kill, if not two. But the first man to make contact might well be Dupree. It's a game of chicken, and the question is who will be calling it first as the smoke is thrown out again. Kirby finds himself fully flashed over, and they are making their way back in towards team main instead. Dupree will not be making first contact. Instead, it will be Device as XMS will slow walk in towards his crosshair. No, Device misses the shot somehow or the other. Will be able to go for the rebound, but no, again missing it. And Scream almost takes him down. Dupree will do the honors of taking away Screen, though Kirby finally finds one coming in from Ivy. But in the meanwhile, Astralis have been performing cleanup and leaving RPK alone versus 3. He will be taken down. And Astralis rip apart the economy of EnVyUS. And put them in such a worrisome position where they might just be inclined to force buy, inclined to risk it all. But instead, they maintaining discipline. They buying up a few sets of Kevlar just in case they can pick up a rifle here or there. Happy with the Deagle. Hoping to... Well, he's really hoping for a little bit of a miracle against Astralis once again. Takes you back. Dupree is sweating bullets, but Glaive right now, he's the man who's pumping a few in. RPK not quite taken down yet. The UMP not effective. Just quite yet, unfortunately. And this time it will be Kirby making first contact. Last time it was a bit of a tease for him. 3 people camping outside of Ivy, but the utility usage from Astralis was just so impeccable. Glaive will be the man to hold that B side almost all on his own. Well, he does have some support from Zipnix over towards scaffolding. He's been dinked down though. 45 HP, 18. He's been forced to drop down, and Glaive finally he's able to find 2 before being taken down. That will be RPK's P250. Device says, I've got one of my own. And Scream will be left alone. Against 4, and he's turning around, going for the parkour plays. The parkour plays will not be had. It's a French art, but unfortunately one Scream has yet to master. That's the disadvantage of being a Belgian in a French squad. Just can't do the parkour plays. 9-1 on Astralis. They're looking dominant, let's just put it that way. EnVyUS has found the money to be able to go for another buy though. Again, utility is non-existent. RPK and Happy not going for the UMPs, not going for the respect play. And they're really just going all out on this. They're hoping that RPK can find a few headshots with that AK. Zipnix finds one, could find the second, showing RPK how it's done. But XMS says, sit down, son. As Zipnix will indeed be sat down. Good position for Kirby once again. He's been forced to change things up, and Happy will be holding that angle. Will take him down. Frenchmen get one to their name. And this is always interesting to see how exactly Device plays out his rotations in Train and in basically any map that Astralis plays. Their mid-round rotations are so incredibly effective. Even when they're man down, Device is just so very mobile all around the map. You already see him playing towards the second tunnel as well, just ready to peek in towards the B side if need be. Glaive pushes forward a little bit more aggressively, trying to find some information, trying to listen for some footsteps, but instead chooses to back himself off, recognizing that they're probably coming all the way from Ivy, which they have been favoring quite often. XMS might be the first man to take charge, and indeed he will. Can Glaive shut this down? He needs to be able to find 2 over here. XMS with the AK and Sixer with the AWP, so it could definitely be possible. They're not using any utility because they don't have any. Unfortunately, Sixer finds a shot though, and it's still a man advantage. 20 seconds left though. The time is heavily in the favor of the Danes. And Device, he's trying to find one. Sixer will be able to get that plant down. And finally, Envy are finding themselves in a favorable situation. Happy knows exactly where Dupree is. Can he connect with the shots though? Dupree's got that flashbang. Happy turns around, but oh no, Dupree is able to take advantage of the split second. That Happy turnaround. Scream will find him out with a grenade in his hand, and he will turn it back into 2 versus 1. Device, we've seen him clutch things out constantly, but will he be able to do it again one last time? Decides against it, decides to play safe, backs himself off, hoping that someone will deliver themselves into his arms, but doesn't look like the Frenchmen have any intention of doing so. And it has to be said, Astralis, their money is not unbreakable either. If EnVyUS is able to take away one more round victory over here, kill at least 3 or 4 people, this could be looking to be a 9-6 scoreline. EnVyUS can very easily put Astralis into a position where they don't have the utility. And Astralis, we've seen how incredibly effective they've been with the utility, but the question has to be asked, are they going to be able to be anywhere near as good without it? And the answer is definitely a big no. EnVyUS, typically a player who is infamous for just being very effective at playing passively with the AWP on the CT side. And now Zipnex, the grenade's going to be doing some heavy damage. Not quite sure why he went for the spray down over there. Perhaps just trying to make some noise. The man to make contact will be Glaive. RPK over on scaffolding will be flashed out. Glaive knows where he is and will be able to take him down. Finally, RPK doesn't get a single kill from that angle as Zipnex gets taken down by Scream. They will be able to get the bomb plant down in default position. Do they have a Molotov? They've got two, actually. The question is, how are they going to be able to reclaim this site? Already you see Dupree pushing forward over towards that smoke. One man over at bomb will be taken down very soon by him. XMS will find Glaive instead. It will be his victory. So Dupree will be taken down. Holding that angle, XMS just playing that bomb site so incredibly beautifully. And EnVyUS needs to find a kill over here. He knows where Sixer is, but the smoke will extinguish any attempts at a Molotov. Kirby finding XMS will take him down. And now moving forward, Sixer will be the next to fall. He's got the AWP. Kirby's got the angle. Will he be able to get the... Yes, he can. Can EnVyUS find his way over in time? No. They're just going for the exit frags, and Happy will be one of them. Will be... No, never mind. Happy, not one of the casualties at all. And although EnVyUS are able to take one more round in their favor and put Astralis behind in economy, they're not really saving up too much back themselves either right now. Astralis will be forced to eco out one round. Dupree with the Deagle will try to keep down EnVyUS's economy. Not to count them out of this round just quite yet. They still do have that AWP of device, and if they move in a bit too quickly, as RPK is actually doing right now, XMS finding a few shots through the smoke. Not quite able to kill anyone though, as RPK goes down to Dupree's Deagle. XMS, finds that headshot through the wall. Kirby is able to find one of his own, but EnVyUS, he's all the way back in the second tunnels. Is just hoping to get a few kills right now. Doesn't really care too much about winning the round. There will be some noise made over towards Hell. Sixer might be found out. He knows where RPK is. XMS rather. XMS is. Will take him down. Scream. Back in Hell. Suddenly EnVyUS is looking like he wants to go for this. Sixer knows where he is. Scream has got to have heard this. He's going for the ninja. Can he get this defuse down though? He's actually backed himself off. Knows where Sixer is. Pulls out the P250. Will not be successful. And the 1 versus 3. Unfortunately, doesn't quite go his way. He will have the money to be able to buy up an AWP regardless. But unfortunately, isn't really able to deal enough damage to EnVyUS to warrant his death. But given the circumstances, it was definitely a very doable clutch if he was just able to get the first shot onto Sixer. It would have been a 1 versus 1 in Scream, being a bit too slow and rotating over from that Hell position. Glaive the grenade. Oh, misses out entirely. Thankfully, EnVyUS is not rushing, otherwise that could have been going in their favor very significantly. Dupree is going to find Scream, takes him down. And losing out a player this early on as the T side is disastrous. Allows Astralis to get so incredibly creative. And RPK, he needs to find one and might just do the trick right now, as he knows Zipnex has thrown out that smoke, but he walks right through it before it even blooms. Has gained some ground over towards that B side. He's been very good with that so far. Will be playing around that smoke in default. Grenade will knock him down to 79. He doesn't have the bomb, unfortunately. Otherwise, going to run for the plant. Will be found out. Zipnex sees him jumping up. Takes him down. Happy reveals his position with a gun barrel. Will be forced to back off as Sixer finds one. Dupree goes down. It will be the secondary shot. Never mind. EnVyUS is able to bring it back. As Happy is left 1 versus 4 with the AWP in his hands. The double op setup, as always, not really working for the T side. And speaking of the double op setup, now it looks like Astralis might be looking to go for that as well for their last round of the first half. Happy knows that they need the rounds at this point, and if he dies, they are not going to have the money to be able to buy up anyway. and Kirby will lay him to rest. 10-4. And the double op is not maintained. Instead, Kirby chooses to pick up a fallen AK, and they're just sticking to what's working, making sure that EnVyUS will not be able to capitalize off of any negligence that they have, and realizing that EnVyUS will be down on economy. So I love this decision coming out from them, because they know that EnVyUS will be forced to go for a few Tech 9s, a few P250s here or there. Scream somehow manages to pull out an AK for himself. But mostly, they will be trying to go for those close range duels where AWPs just completely fail. Device not quite able to connect with the shots, neither is RPK, so they both just have a whisper into each other's ears. RPK managed to get himself fully blinded. No big deal. XMS though will be able to find one. Dupree goes down. That's a double headshot. Very deadly with a P250. Scream might find a few more, but actually gets taken down after doing some significant damage. Sixer has got the opportunity with the scout to take three of them down rather, but he's not going to be able to, as he's brought down. At least the rest of his team is brought down, but Sixer in a 1 versus 1. This could be very interesting if he's able to get the bomb control. But of course, Astralis, they have got the advantage in this round again, with the bomb already being down. Sixer, scout at the ready. Needs to get that one single shot onto Glaive, who's only at 53 HP. Very tricky situation. He's coming from behind in the connector side. Glaive is being very careful about this, but he's completely exposed. If Sixer manages to find his way over, this could be big. But unfortunately, his vision is obscured by the bomb train. He's going to be trying to go for the flank from behind. Can he get this in time? No, he can't. Unfortunately, switches out his guns, and Astralis will be able to take this 11-4 for the first half. A little bit unfortunate, the situation, but EnVyUS will of course be on the favored side now, and they will have the opportunity to prove their mettle. I have to say, RPK was definitely the standout performer for them in the previous half, just able to get quite a few rounds for them, able to make sure that they got the entry frag on quite a few rounds. But other than that, they did seem a little bit uncoordinated. More often than not, rushing out onto a bomb site, just delivering a frag into the hands of Device's AWP.
Counter-terrorists win.
And we're live with the second half of EnVyUS going up against Astralis. If you're just tuning in, this is an incredibly important match to be able to decide who moves, who stays in the top 6 for the EPL. And is going to be able to go to Dallas to play in that $500,000 tournament finals. At least I think it's $500,000. I'm not 100% sure on that. Probably should have been, but it's okay. Let's move into towards the game where we see Astralis going for a fast-paced execute over towards that A side, not that B side. It's a fake from Glaive. He has already used all of his utility. I'm lying. It's on that A side as they're trying to find one over towards Electric Box. Happy shuts down Dupree entirely, but it gets traded out. XMS in the meanwhile, he's the man wasting all of his bullets as it's a USB being thrown away. Zipnix finds him and is going to be able to punish him for those lost bullets. But in the end of the day, EnVyUS, they prevail and they win the pistol round. Very important for them to be able to try and equalize that scoreline, but you need to keep in mind, even if they're able to get the full 5 rounds, Astralis will still be at an 11-9 advantage. So definitely an uphill battle, and they need to grind this out. They realize that. That's why they're going for the 4 UMPs and that 1 MP9 in the hands of Scream, just to make sure that they can try and farm up some money. Could be punished very effectively, as we already see the Tech 9s coming out into play from Astralis. Device, of course, staying with that Deagle. 4 Kevlars will mean that those UMPs will not be anywhere near as effective as they could be. And Dupree walking forward, inching forward over towards that B side, just hoping that his Deagle can come into play and find a few kills. And if he is able to do so, that would be massive. He's one of the best Deaglers in the world, and he's looking to show us why. Should be an A-side execute. They've got 2 smokes in their hands. Actually, no, this should be a B-side execute if they don't get a kill for free, as Scream gets tagged down to 62. Dupree almost finds 1 shot and will be able to find another onto XMS if he peeks again. Scream just going for the peek. Can't quite connect with it though. XMS gets taken down. Dupree lands that shot every day of the week. And now at a numbers disadvantage, EnVyUS needs to spread themselves thin across the map. But they're choosing not to. They're saying, you know what, RPK, we trust him on that B side. He will be able to hold, but with 35 seconds left on the clock and 2 smokes in the hands of Astralis, none in the hands of EnVyUS, this is going to be a very tricky hold for them on that B side if they do choose to push out. RPK brought down to 55 HP. Does look like the B side will be their target, but RPK, he's found one, and they will be moving in towards A instead. Immediately the rotations come through. They're trying to push in. Kirby will find one. No, actually Scream is the man to take him down. The MP9 really coming into play over here. Dupree needs to find a few more shots, but he leaves Glaive alone, and that lonesome man will be taken down again. RPK, very clean round coming out from Envy, only losing 1 player and getting a lot of money for themselves with those SMGs. I will be perfectly honest. For the longest time, I have been trying to fit in a few French phrases that I had prepared specifically for this map, for this match rather, and I'm very disappointed that I haven't been able to pull them out yet. Never was good at that, but look at this. Happy, he's pushing forward. He's found one, pulls out the USB, could find the second, but instead it will be the grenade coming out from RPK. Follow-up wallbang, Scream from the back lines. Oh, ho, ho, c'est parfait, mon ami. Finally get to use that as he finishes the round off. Glaive gets taken down, 7-11. EnVyUS looking pretty goddamn good right now. And immediately the double op comes out. They were so enthusiastic about this on the T side. They say, you know what, let's go for it on CT as well. What I don't like though is a double UMP coming out. XMS and Scream having those, although very effective in most situations, this is definitely pushing it. Because you know that Astralis, they're going to be struggling for money right now. They're going to be struggling for utility right now. And that's where you can really start making sure that you get that 5-round victory early on. Of course, you've got the reset potential even if you do lose this one out, but you really don't want to be going for that when you're down 4 rounds this early on. Device trying to find a man. Scream could be his victim very soon. But instead it will be Dupree to potentially open things up. Sixa is holding that angle. Nice grenade coming out. Some chunky damage being dealt to Dupree. Not too much though. Sixa will not find the target just quite yet as Dupree backs himself off. They will be Hard pressed to hit into A main where there's two players already, Scream and XMS, both UMPs pushing forward very aggressively, going for the information gathering play, and that's why you see what RPK is doing. He's pushing up scaffolding, he's pushing up ladder, and he's trying to find Zipnix right now. And Zipnix needs to be so careful, needs to turn around soon. Will do so and will connect with the shot, just holds the angle so effectively despite getting dinked down. Question is, can Glaive do the same? As the roaming SMGs have found their way, have made their way over. Sixer is not quite looking towards the correct angle. The flashbang will be avoided. XMS though again in the exact same fashion. Glaive is able to take them down. It seems like that flashbang is the bane of their existence. Sixer misses the shot as they're trying to cross by. Zipnix it's taken down to 14, but that's 14 more than 60. 14 more than Sixer wants him to have. As Glaive finds one more. Sixer, last man left standing, and EnVyUS, the French squad. Oh, nicely done. The flick from the P250, but the grenade in his hands will not be able to do the same. 12-7, and Astralis find their first round on the T side half. EnVyUS still having more than enough money to be able to buy up, but with the double op coming out in the previous round, they will be a little bit struggling for money, and I hate the Farmer's purchase. I absolutely hate it. XMS buying up the Farmers is ridiculous considering that they don't have a single kit at hand. You go for the UMP, you pick up the kit, so much more effective, and you don't have a single kit. Now you have to be able to get those opening frags, and Astralis, this is what they're doing. They're actually forced to use the smoke early on, and they're so lucky that they rush through, and Happy and RPK are able to clean up on the B side. Glaive and Device, they're going to be cursing themselves as the reset seems to be inevitable at this point. Device with the AWP doesn't want to give that up though. Glaive will see Happy out of the corner of his eye, but Happy backs himself off, and they will be able to get the bomb plant down if nothing else. Device needs to turn around and will find the shot. Happy gets taken down and back behind him. Look at the game sense, but unfortunately, the game sense isn't enough. Glaive has got that one Molotov, but the smoke in the hands of Sixer means that they can defuse it regardless. Sixer, use your smoke. Sixer, thank God. But they might actually be able to find this out. Glaive uses the smoke to his advantage. Almost gets a spray down. That would have been massive. As they don't have a kit. And XMS gets so lucky that Glaive misses the spray down. 8-12. And EnVyUS, they're walking a tightrope. And a whisper from Astralis could take them down. But Astralis, that whisper might be coming out very soon, as they've got one last buy in them before their money is gone. AKs and Tech 9s on Glaive. And you see the difference between the buys from the Danes and the buys coming out from the Frenchmen. The Danes just prioritize utility a little bit more. If this was the T-side half of EnVyUS, you've seen time and time again, they go for 5 AKs rather than picking up a Tech 9 or picking up a UMP. And now Astralis, they're going for the fast play. They want to make that Tech 9 useful, but unfortunately, they're not quite able to find anyone. Device, though, has one man cross by him. And despite the flashbang, his spray is successful. XMS will be waiting for Device and will connect with the shots. The pre-fire, very effective. Glaive might be taking down XMS. Look down! And takes him out. Zipnix in a 1 versus 3. Might choose to back himself off, but with the grenade chunking him down, he's more than ready for war. Jumps up, sees one, finds one, will not connect. 12-9 and EnVyUS. They're feeling good about themselves. They're about to break double digits if all goes according to plan. And Astralis, this is what's very interesting to see. Their T-side on train, which used to be very, very strong, famously, especially when you think back towards the major final where they were able to come back against a 14-round VP. On that T-side, I think they came back from 14-8. They really have deteriorated ever since then, and they just seem to be having some trouble getting it together. They make up for it with a stellar CT side, but already you see EnVyUS. They're closing the gap one round at a time. And the A side looks to be the poison that Astralis has picked, but that poison will definitely be very deadly, as the SMG of Scream is ready. Sixer will be the first man to connect though. Soon after, XMS follows up, and I refuse to be on auto director for some reason, so I'm missing all the frags in the world. Dupree Interesting decision to go for the P250 push into the P250. I'm not quite sure what that was all about. A very risky play, and could have potentially actually ended up losing out his AWP and a few more guns in succession if dupreeh was able to connect with that headshot, which is very likely, and surprising that he went for that play. I don't quite approve of that. It's plays like that which really end up breaking your economy as a CT side. And speaking of which, their economy is definitely not looking all too strong. Yes, you've got a little bit on Happy right now, well over 7,000, well over 5,000. But everyone else is hovering around that 3k mark, where if you lose one round, yes, you can get one more buy out of that, but beyond that, it's a very difficult situation that you're in, as RPK will be using that Molotov out very early on into the round. Just afraid that Astralis are going to be going for what they did in the 20th round. Luckily enough, they're not. But the B side is again Astralis' choice. And it's an interesting situation that they're going to be finding themselves in, with RPK being as defensively postured as he is. It's one of the first times that he's actually done this, and the smoke going through the flashbang as well will be fully blinding him out. RPK needs to turn things around. dupreeh, Zip next will be taken down. RPK finds 1, 2, it's time to buckle his shoe because the third one is going down anyway. May as well do it while he's at it. dupreeh and Device. The 2 versus 4 very soon after a 1 versus 4. Device may be the most good looking man on the server, but he's definitely not most alive man on the server. 12 to 11, EnVyUS is so close to equalizing the scoreline after an abysmal 11-4 first half. Astralis is this where they go for the same pause that EnVyUS did after losing 6 rounds in a row? Does look to be a possibility. Cream for the UMP. Seems to be his preferred choice of gun so far. He didn't actually go for it a single time in the T half, and interestingly enough has gone for it on almost all the rounds on the CT side. Perhaps a little bit telling of their attitude towards the T half, prioritizing the aim over the utility. And Device with the P250 is looking to get some magic done, but the magic is in the hands of dupreeh as he's pushed forward very aggressively. Dodges out that flashbang. Will XMS be able to find him out, or will dupreeh connect with a shot? Does look like dupreeh has no intention of moving out from his little corner anytime soon. Device just spamming through the smoke, hoping to get lucky. But isn't that the story of us all? Scream. Oh, Scream's getting very unlucky as he gets tanked down to 28. But brings it back with a few one-taps very quickly. XMS finds 2 of his own. And EnVyUS will equalize the scoreline from an 11-4 deficit. And Astralis, they're just bleeding out kills on their gun rounds, and they're not going for that. Finally, the tactical pause does come through. (12-12). And things could not be trickier for the Danes. And you have to commend RPK. I mean, he's done such an absolutely stellar job so far. On the T side, almost all of the rounds that they were able to win were courtesy of his entry frags. On the CT side, he's just been such a complete rock. It's one of the reasons why RPK back in G2 was called the tank of the team. He was called one of the most stable Frenchmen in Counter-Strike in general, because if nothing else, you can always rely on him to fulfill his role. And that's what he has been doing so far. He's been holding his angles, he's been holding his position so incredibly effectively. EnVyUS, they've got to be giving him a few pats on the back. And now Astralis, they're ready to go back into it. The question is, how will they choose to do so? So far, they've been largely ineffective in going towards that B site. The A site, the few times that they have chosen to go, they've been shut down early on by Scream and XMS. Perhaps Ivy will be their method of entry on towards the A side this time around. So far they've tried ladder, they've tried A main. Neither one of those has actually worked out, unfortunately. But they're slowing things down a little bit, and I do quite like this. Coming out from the T's, it does put a lot of pressure onto the CTs if you're going through at the 40-second mark, especially given that EnVyUS has been trained to use their utility very early on. Something that we've seen, especially over towards the B site, where RPK consistently is using that incendiary early on to make sure that Astralis is not going for any sort of a rush play. With only an incendiary left in their hands and Astralis having been counting the utility, they decide that it's time to go. And that's the execute that will be coming through, and that will be making things so incredibly difficult for EnVyUS. With 40 seconds left on the clock, the smokes will deploy by 35. Sixer throws out that one last smoke that they had. He's positioned very aggressively on top of a train. And Kirby, he's going to be taken down. No, Sixer misses the shot once again. The same shot the device missed. But 25 seconds left on the clock. Sixers just being in that position put so much pressure on them. Kirby is down to 1 HP. Aximus turns around, but Kirby, 1 HP is all he needs. But it's Sixer with the collateral. He's found 2, but Zipnix from behind takes him down. 13 seconds left on the clock with 2 players left on the CT side. Kirby with 1 HP, still being very effective so far. Can they get the bomb down? Glaive moving forward. 5 seconds left on the clock. Can Happy shut this bomb plant down? No, yes, he can. And it doesn't matter because Astralis lose all their players with a second to spare. 13-12 and EnVyUS. Despite the tactical pause coming out from Astralis, they're able to shut them down. Astralis so far only having gotten a single round compared to the 9 of EnVyUS. They're in trouble, that's for sure. Same old for RPK. Over the B site, uses his incendiary. And Astralis, I'm very surprised that didn't work. Honestly, I have to say that the Sixer just went completely insane despite missing out the first shot. In any other situation, you look towards the clock with having only 40 seconds left, and perhaps Astralis just wasted a little bit too much time. If they executed at 50, would have been a little bit more possible for them. But with the situation as it was, with EnVyUS only having a single smoke that was used by Sixer anyway. And as he missed that shot, that smoke was largely useless as he wasn't quite able to get too much out of that. And now again, with 45 seconds left on the clock and all the utility having been used from EnVyUS' side, Astralis look to go in. But where are they going? This is not going to be working out for them to effectively scream this every single time, man. Every single time. That same flashbang is a bane of EnVyUS' existence. But Sixer says, calm down. It's fine. I've got things under control. Doesn't really look like it, unfortunately. And never mind. I take that back. Kirby gets taken down. 3 versus 3 with the firepower being in the favor of the Frenchman. And already all of them are just going forward very aggressively together. Device is going to be having his work cut out for him. He needs to be able to shut down RPK as he pushes forward. They've got no flashbangs whatsoever, so the tech line will be incredibly useful. Sixer finds a trade, but will they be able to find the few more shots that they need? Dupree takes 1 down, takes a second as well. He knew where Sixer was. Sixer getting onto the bomb train without checking all his angles, and Dupree is just able to take advantage of that with the crosshair discipline. I wish I had my angle. I wish I had my camera on him early on. And Astralis finally, they get their second round of the second half. But again, not really looking too strong on the money side. If they lose this one, EnVyUS practically takes the game away right there and then. And that's what they're trying to do with the double op. Sixer and Happy, both ready to shut down EnVyUS' rush from coming through. And that might be what EnVyUS is going for right now. As you see RPK position a little bit more differently, and this is what they tend to do right now. And look at this, Happy finds 1, RPK finds the second, even finding another dink as well. Happy will be the man to take him down as Glaive will be jumping through. Happy, that's a bomb hitting the deck. Device with the AWP wants to try and take this out. The smoke being deployed will make things a little bit harder for Happy, but it doesn't really matter all too much. Device peeks him, will not be able to take him down successfully though, As he will. Oh, look at that flick from Device. XMS. That shutdown and Scream will soon be following. No, Device. Yeah. Ha ha ha. So unfortunate. Chooses to go aggressive, but gets shut down by the AWP of Sixa from behind. Beautifully played. A great retake coming out from EnVyUS. And even just Happy and RPK being able to shut down that aggression early on, despite RPK getting traded out. Happy stays alive, playing around the back of the bomb site, just making sure that there is absolutely nothing Astralis can do to be able to take him down, with the Device not being able to take that peek, the smoke, the grenade. Picture perfect play coming out from him in that situation. And of course, RPK in the same round. At this point, I don't even need to talk about him. He does the same thing every round, and that is mowing down Astralis. And now, speaking of Astralis, speaking of some mow downs, let's see who will be mowing down who. As Scream looks like he wants to start off strong for himself. Flashbangs his way through the smoke. Will be able to find one. Could even be the third for him. But instead, it will be only two. I say only, but it's a big chunky number as it is. XMS in a difficult situation, as RPK makes it a bit easier for him. Sixa brings it down to a 12 HP Dupree and will take him down. 5-7 finishes things off. 15-13, and Astralis, they don't have the money to continue on. EnVyUS, we talked about how they need to win Train, and it really does look like that is on the menu right now. Will EnVyUS order it? I made very little sense, but it's okay. I do find it interesting how RPK hasn't gone aggressively a single time so far over in towards the top of B. It's something that the CT side does like to do in a double, in a two-man push, but so far Happy and RPK have decided to just stick to their guns, hold their angles, and it has been very effective. Speaking of very effective, Dupree finds one. Glaive will be able to pick up his gun if nothing else, so his fallen comrade will be helping him out from beyond the grave, but no reason to wait too much before you get reunited with him, apparently. Zipnix and Kirby. Zipnix with the Tech 9 almost finds one, but Kirby, he's in a 1 versus 3, and it's the map point for EnVyUS could very soon be taken away from them. Kirby trying to go for the spray down, goes for the second as well, but he can't quite connect with the shots anywhere. One grenade is all it would take, but they don't quite have one. An incendiary in the hands of Happy will not be enough. Will not take him down. 40 seconds left on the clock. Happy knows where he is. Will connect with the shots. 2 HP, but doesn't matter. Kirby finds a spray down, and he needs 2 quick headshots to be able to win this game. Well, to possibly win this game. To be able to take it into overtime, potentially. 18 seconds left on the clock. They just need to hold their angles, and it does look like that will be the case. EnVyUS take the map away, surprisingly enough, and we are, well, we're not really all too surprised. We talked about how EnVyUS needed to be taking that one away to have any chance in staying in the top 6, and now the question is, did Na'Vi lose out 2-0? Did Na'Vi lose their map to Heroic? Did Fnatic lose their map to Mousesports? Stay tuned for some more Counter-Strike action, and we will be updating you with the full standings as soon as we're back. Thank you for watching. Don't go anywhere. Alright, so we have been surprised once. Well, I mean, I wasn't really surprised, but we have been shown some great Counter-Strike once by EnVyUS over towards the CT side of Train, where they were able to dominate Astralis in such a convincing fashion despite being down 11-4, and I have to commend them for showing the mental fortitude that they did. Although I did predict that EnVyUS would be able to take that map off of Astralis, I did not actually think that it would be in the fashion that it was, where Astralis was able to take the lead 11-4, and Envy, despite that, were able to persevere and grind out the rounds. Very surprising for me personally, but enough about Train. We're moving forward in towards Inferno, and this is a map which I find very interesting for a few different reasons. Now, first of all the numbers that I'm going to be talking are going to be taken from the past month. I'm not going to be going back before a month. Secondly, Inferno is a map that is banned out very consistently up against Astralis, because Astralis is supposed to be one of the best teams in the world at playing it currently, and in the current state that it is. It's also a map where there's still a lot of experimentation to be done, and there's still a lot of different ways for the metagame to be defined before the major actually comes around. Now, taking a look at some of the statistics, I find it very interesting that Envy actually let Inferno pass through. While Envy has a few players which were legendary Inferno players back in the day, but that was a very long time ago. That was back late 2015, early 2016, if I remember correctly. Now, Envy's actually only won a single map from Inferno in the past month, and that map was off of LDLC, and they won that in a 16-12 fashion. Now, the problem with that is, first of all, LDLC is not really even a tier 2 team. I would say I would say they're very close to being a tier, the tier 2 team is very difficult to define, but I don't think that they're a team that would be favorites in a major qualifier, so to speak. Now, the reason why I bring this up is, despite that, it's a 16-12 victory. EnVyUS was not very, very convincing, did not really dominate them by any stretch of the imaginations. And if you compare that towards all of their losses, they've actually been incredibly one-sided, with their worst loss being to Fnatic in a 16-3 situation, despite them actually taking quite a few maps off of Fnatic when it came to Train, the previous map that we were actually watching. So evidently, EnVyUS is not very comfortable on Inferno. Despite that, they didn't actually ban that one out from the pool, which I find very interesting, and I find very telling of the situation that they're in. And I'm hoping that they have something up their sleeves. Now, if you compare that towards Astralis, surprisingly enough, Astralis, despite being as good as they are, they don't really have as great of a record as you would expect from them. They've played 7 maps of Inferno in the past month, and out of those 7, they've actually lost out 3 of them, the most recent of which was actually at IEM Sydney, where they lost 16-12 to SK. Not a team that you would really expect them to be losing out to ever on any map, let alone Inferno, which is one of their best maps. Now, if you compare that towards, if you look at towards their other 2 losses, one is to FaZe, which is understandable in itself. FaZe definitely probably the second best team in the world right now. And even that went to overtime, and Astralis actually took 17 rounds in that, and FaZe won in 19-17 fashion. Then the second one that Astralis actually lost out was to North, another team that can definitely be said that has its mark on the tier 1 scene and has the potential to be the dark horse at any tournament at all. And even that was also in overtime, where Astralis lost out 19-16. So keeping all of that in mind, and keeping in mind how EnVyUS has been performing recently, which is a little bit lackluster on the T side in just generally every single map because of some coordination problems that they seem to be having, keeping in mind all of those, it really does seem to be a case closed for me, as Astralis should be taking this one convincingly. Now, the question is, does EnVyUS have anything prepared for this map to be able to potentially cause an upset, which is why they're actually going for this map in such a crucial series, where they have got their top 6 lives on the line. And we need to remember that now that Fnatic has actually beaten Mousesports, the only way EnVyUS can actually maintain their possibility of going into top 6 is by beating Astralis right here and right now and getting towards that 14-12 and getting towards a potential tiebreaker situation where they can play for that top 6 spot, where they can try and go over towards Dallas, Texas. So keeping that in mind, you have to be saying EnVyUS needs to have something under lock and needs to have something planned out, needs to have something in lock and key to be able to make sure that they are going to be able to win this round. With that being said, we're going to be moving into the game very soon. All 10 players are on the server, so we'll be right back very soon with some CSGO action.
Terrorists win.
And we're live with game number 2 of Astralis going up against EnVyUS. I've always wanted to talk like that, and now I'm happy. That being said, let's see whether or not EnVyUS will be happy right now. They're starting off on the T side of Inferno. Definitely going to be interesting to see what strategies they're able to bring to the table. Their T side on Train was quite frankly a little bit atrocious, but they were able to redeem themselves on that CT side. The question is, will they need to go to that same length once again? I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that EnVyUS will be able to step things up, will be able to show up. Right now, Kirby is the man who needs to do that, because they look like they're going to be walking out from apartment side, finding some property for themselves as they're cruising by. It does look like they are actually backtracking though, and it will be EnVyUS who needs to hold the charge. He's not pushing up too aggressively just quite yet. He's just holding his way around that barrels position. The cardboard will not be, well, it's not really cardboard, but it won't be protecting him regardless, as he will be forced to back himself off. And immediately you see the rotations coming out. That's Zipnix and that's Glaive already making their way over. The question is, will Zipnix be able to find one? Yes, he is. The smoke blooms a bit too late. And now EnVyUS will be able to back himself off. They've got two players of their Scream planting behind coffins, going for the safe one. And it will be the 2 versus 2. Scream finds a headshot very quickly. Zipnix returns it and he says, my USP is better than yours, because he doesn't really have one regardless. 4 versus 2, and now with the bomb being planted, Sixer doesn't have any armor whatsoever, no HP either, so it seems one shot will take him out, and it will be down to him. 1 versus 4, and that will be unsuccessful. No surprises there, but EnVyUS, at least they get the bomb plant down, even if they aren't able to walk away with a pistol. Not going to be happy with that, but Inferno is a map where you can do quite a lot with just AKs in the 3rd round. Inferno is definitely one of those maps where you can get away with not having as much utility, and you can get away with being able to take those aim battles early on. It's not ideal, not at all, but it's doable is all I can say. But Astralis, they're ready for this. That's why they're going for the triple SMG. They say, you know what, EnVyUS, this is exactly what they did in the first game as well after they lost the T-side pistol half. This is what EnVyUS always does. And they're going to be going for that 3rd round buy. Nothing too surprising about that, but that's why you see the triple SMG coming out instead of the typical double SMG. Unfortunately, I accidentally kicked the my computer's power supply, and because of that, now I have to restart my computer, and then the Windows update started and everything, so a little bit of an unfortunate situation, but we're going to be reconnecting in very soon, hopefully. Just finding the GoTV IP once again. Oh god damn it, Windows. I don't care about you. We will be connecting into the game very shortly. Don't worry too much. We haven't missed all that much. That's a bit of a lie, but well, it's okay. You'll have to forgive me for that one, because you really don't have too much of a choice over here. Now, we're getting back into it. Inferno, last we checked in, it was, of course, it was almost time for EnVyUS to be able to eke out their first buy in the 3rd round. Depends on how exactly that went, to be able to determine the course of the game as we try and move into the game. Okay, there we have it. 2-1 and Astralis. Oh, actually, EnVyUS managed to win their 3rd round, and Zipnix finds the shot through the smoke despite the bomb already. No, the bomb hasn't been planted just quite yet. That was the bomb planted. 4 seconds left. They will be able to get it down, right down to the wire, but never mind. EnVyUS with the CZ saves them in this round, and Kirby even finding that one last kill to make sure that they're doing some economic damage on the way out. And now, because of that, EnVyUS, they find themselves reset. And hopefully we will finally be live, and things will be somewhat fine. Alright then. With that being said, EnVyUS do decide to force up immediately after. They're not going for any of the typical saves. They're not well, they're not going for what you would normally expect to see from them in a situation like this. They're not saving it all and maybe just going for some utility, trying to go for an execute. They're playing around those two AKs that they have saved up. Scream and Happy will try to find a few kills with those, but unfortunately, it doesn't really look like that will be happening just yet, as we see very aggressively pushed far forward. Device will be coming up from behind in second mid. Can he find them out over here? He's eking his way forward. It's a lurk and this could be massive. The question is, can Glaive finish him off? No, never mind. Glaive gets caught out with a grenade in his hand and Device gets taken down. Happy finds him. Dupree, the only man to get a frag so far, who almost gets a second as well. But Kirby, he's going ham from behind the cot. He's found two. Turns it into 2 versus 2. Keeps himself alive as well. And Zipnix pushed all the way through Banana. The only way they're getting into the B side is if Sixer doesn't get shot down, gunned down by Kirby in this situation. But he sees the foot. He sees the foot, but the bomb should be planted. If nothing else, EnVyUS should be able to get away with quite a bit of extra money for themselves as the incendiary grows out towards Graveyard. Kirby, he's ready to push through. Sixer gets taken down. That's a bomb. It will not be planted in Zipnix. He's able to capitalize off of EnVyUS being a little bit too slow in that situation. 4-1. And EnVyUS, now they don't really have the money from the bomb plant. They don't really have too much in their hands. And as a result of that, they will be forced to... Well, they will be forced to go up against the SMG of Dupree, which is going to be able to farm up so much money for them. Scream has not really showed up with the deagles or the pistols in general. I have to say, it's very unfortunate. We've seen some great highlight reel worthy clips from him in the past in these pistol rounds, but unfortunately this is not one of them. Device, beautiful shot onto Happy, just gets a little bit lucky through the smoke. As XMS is looking to find the duel with the P250, it doesn't look like he will be successful, and they're all just shutting them down. Headshots galore, as RPK is the last man left standing. He's looking to find a headshot of his own, but it will be Dupree to finish him off. So much money going into his bank. You already see him sitting at 6,400. And 5-1 Astralis. Well, they're still in a very good situation despite EnVyUS now having a fairly large amount of utility. The problem is that without Molotovs, it gets a little bit hard to flash out areas like Arc and just flash out the crossfire. But look at that! Look at the double peek coming through, shutting them down entirely. And yes, Dupree and Glaive are able to rebound and able to get 2 of their own, but it doesn't matter because the bomb is down and the rotation will be very, very late. Glaive, he needs to be able to find the man in the side. That's XMS. They've got a decent crossfire setup, but Sixer, he's the man trying to take the pressure away from him. Nice flashbang going in. Will not really be catching any one of them out, but he's managed to make his way over towards Cart, but it's a double smoke that will prevent them from doing too much. Will he be able to get the spray down over here? Needs to push forward. Almost gets it. Yes, he does. It's a 3-man. Sixer goes insane. Wow! Lovely stuff coming out from him. Astralis, they were able to get one round that could have changed the flow of the game by preventing the bomb plant, but EnVyUS, they rebound, and Sixer, what a beautiful play, just taking advantage of the smokes, and Astralis just getting sloppy and not trying to spray them down. Brilliant stuff, brilliant stuff. I'm going to be riding off of the high from that. And 5-2. EnVyUS have just been gifted a chance back into this first half. A way to be able to equalize their scoreline, perhaps at 5. Device right now, he's going to be having his work cut out for him. As it looks like EnVyUS finally trying to hit the B site. They were able to successfully take control of it in the third round, but unfortunately, well, in the fourth round, sorry, but unfortunately, they weren't able to transition that forward. It does look like Happy is still on the lurk, though, as always. Dupree will be able to take him down, and with the 3 very quick kills coming out from the CT side, looks like Device will be finishing things off with 1 more under RPK. And now the pause comes through from EnVyUS. They've been reset, and despite Sixer's amazing clutch, the problem with that was he was the only player who survived. And in a no, actually, Sixer might have gone down as well to the bomb plant. Let's check. No, Sixer did survive, but he was the only player to actually do so, and because of that, EnVyUS had to fully rebuy into the previous round. They already had a bit of a stumbling economy. And after that, it just seems like they will not be given the chance to be able to rack it back up, to be able to accumulate their wallets into a more favorable position. I really hope that they don't go for the force buy over here, though. With Sixer being as low as he is at 1600, it's going to be a very difficult situation for them. However, if they want to be able to pick up the AWP, then Sixer will have to go for a double save, double eco anyway. So in a situation like that, it definitely does make sense to go for the force buy. That's why we're seeing EnVyUS potentially trying to decide whether or not they want to do so, whether they want that AWP on Sixer, or do they just want to stick to the 5 AK strategy that they have been trying to go for so far. And it does look like it should be the AWP coming out now that they have chosen to go for the full buy. Sixer says that he needs it to be able to fight up against Device, and Sixer definitely was looking very comfortable on that AWP in the second half of Train. And if he's able to replicate that success over here, well, then Astralis doesn't really have too much that they can do to shut him down. Kirby, very early on, very aggressively over towards that B side, finds a shot. It will be, and immediately backing himself off. Question though is, can they actually stop them from taking over this site right now? Because one player is very, very low. Happy will be able to find his way through with the Tech 9. Brings him down while he's trying to go for the reload. And it's already 4 players falling from the CT side. Zipnix will be able to find one and turns it into a 1 versus 2. But RPK, even though he only has a P250, will be the difference maker at this point. He's still on that side. Has got that crossfire completely established in Scream. He hears the jump. And RPK almost takes him down, but it's a 1 versus 1 now. Zipnix, the clutch king. Scream might be expecting him to be on top of the cart. Look at this. He's looking up towards the wrong angle, but no, he reveals his position, and despite a lovely play where he faked going on towards the cart, Scream is able to take him down courtesy of those few bullets that were fired out. Great stuff coming out from him and EnVyUS. They're able to successfully transition that force buy into a victory, and that's a big one because you see Astralis' money again. They're the ones who are at the verge of being reset now. They've got 2 deagles. Well, they've got 1 deagle and a 5-7 in the hands of Zipnix. And Scream, he's just hoping to get lucky over towards that B apartment side with the wall bang. Speaking of getting lucky, Happy gets very lucky as he is able to find the tracers of Device and uses them to shut him down entirely. Scream, again, trying for the wall bangs. Is mostly just messing up the wallpaper of the house, taking down its resale value a little bit. And the CTs are making their way back towards that A side, and look at how decisive they are. So far, Astralis, they've seen that EnVyUS seems to be preferring to hit that A side pretty much almost always, other than the 4th round, which they did lose, and another round which they did lose, where Device shut them out completely. And now this might come back to bite them, because Zipnix, he's slowly making his way back with 40 seconds left on the clock. They finally realize that no, EnVyUS is actually hitting that B side, and despite that smoke coming through, RPK just pushes his way through it. The Molotov will be blocking out Zipnix as well. Kirby might find 6 over here if he gets boosted up, and indeed he will, but he gets taken down in trade as RPK and Scream very quickly find 2 of their own. 4 versus 2, and Glaive now pushing through with a 5-7. Needs to be very careful, but he does quite jump through the smoke. Zipnix left alone, and he will be taken down as Scream manages to get 3 kills in that round. Very crucial ones, all of them. And with that, Astralis' money is down the drain, and EnVyUS, well, they could be equalizing right now. Because Device will not have that AWP in the next round unless... Actually, no, EnVyUS doesn't even have one to drop over, so Device will not have that AWP in that next round unless he gets quite a few kills with the USP. And that automatically just takes down Astralis' firepower so significantly on this map. We've seen Device get some great plays. Oh, look at this. Sixer gets the wall bang. Kirby gets taken down to 39. Can be very deadly. But Device on that B side, we've seen how very effective he's been so far with the AWP. And unfortunately, without that in the next round, EnVyUS should be able to take this forward. And look at this. RPK opens things up. Zipnix goes down, finds a second as well. It's a quick tap. And a 5 versus 3. But Device, he's found an AK to work with. Could very well take down RPK, and it's a 3 versus 3 then over towards that. Oh, look at this beautiful stuff. The spray down despite not having any armor. RPK doesn't connect with a single bullet. Now XMS being taken down from the back lines. He's only got 8 HP left. He thought he checked the angle, but it just wasn't quite good enough. 2 versus 3, but they've both got AKs, and they're saying, you know what, let's just save this into the next round. We don't have too much money to work with, and this will allow us to be able to get so much more. And if I'm not wrong, now Device can actually go for that AWP. Because he was able to get 2 kills from them for himself. That's another 600 in the bank. And that could be game-changing once again. This is a situation where EnVyUS, if they had been able to kill all the players, that would be potentially a 7-6 situation where they are still at an economic advantage that they're looking at it. As long as they're able to capitalize off of the inferior buy that Astralis was bound to have. But now you see Device, he is definitely going for the AWP. He throws the AK over towards Debris, so they will have a lot more utility to work with than previously expected as well. And look at this, they've got full utility practically. Yes, a little bit short on incendiaries, which is going to be problematic on that A side particularly. However, regardless of that, they're in a great situation to be able to take this round, but not anymore because Device gets taken down. The bloom from the incendiary allows RPK to connect with that headshot, and RPK has just been so spectacular with those so far. Another one for him. And it doesn't quite matter. The flashbang onto himself. Glaive is going to be kicking himself, but thankfully he's not going to be taken down just quite yet. Dupree, he needs to be able to get at least 2 kills and back himself off scot-free right now to have any chance at all in this round. Kirby is, of course, boosted up. But with one player on B side, RPK is just holding it. A minute left on the clock, and Astralis is perhaps starting to realize that RPK is still there. Glaive knows that he hasn't quite gone for the cross, but Glaive is the only man in B regardless. 50 seconds left on the clock, and Glaive is just so worried that RPK might be holding that angle, so he can't really back himself off into CT either too safely. The smoke now going out. Scream was the man deployed. That will Glaive be able to connect with a few shots? Doesn't look like it. 5 people left actually on the side of Envy, and immediately they're backing themselves off. Astralis say that they've had enough. They can't win this. They are going to end up saving their guns. And it's a great call from them, really, because they know that they won't have the AWP in the next round regardless of what they do. So now you save 3 guns, and perhaps you just try and eco up in the next round. Go for a stack onto one site with the guns, as Glaive gets very lucky, alive with 1 HP. Or perhaps you go for a stack onto a site with the guns. Throw the pistols onto the other side, just try to keep the guns alive. And if you're lucky, well then EnVyUS will walk onto the stack and you will be able to walk away with the round. If not, then well, nothing too much lost as long as you're able to save those guns moving forward. Zipnix though, having 4,400, this might be a buy, and it's a great time to pause right now. Because Astralis needs to figure this out. Do they want to risk EnVyUS being able to close this one out 9-6 in the first half? Because if they buy up right now, then this will definitely be a very weak few buys coming out in quick succession. However, that being said, are they willing to concede the possibility of EnVyUS having a minimum of 7 rounds if they don't walk onto the stack? And remember, Device can always go for the Mag 7. Give that over to Kirby, trade that out. But instead, no, Dupree buys up the AWP, throws it over to his Device, and surprisingly enough, they have a fairly decent buy coming out because of that. The only real thing that's lacking is Zipnix, and he's got the UMP, which is a great gun to have regardless. Would have maybe preferred to see him pick up the Mag 7, which is very effective on these close range angles that Inferno has to offer. But regardless. RPK though, the game is all on him so far. He's managed to get 10 kills on the board. Almost all of them, well actually all of them being very high impact entry frags that have allowed them to win so many rounds so far. Scream finds it! And that's Kirby. Taken down immediately. It just seems to be the story so far. EnVyUS, their one taps have been so on point with both Scream and RPK. Just ripping them to shreds. It's so refreshing to actually see, as Zipnix will be able to avoid the flash and back himself off. Actually, not Zipnix, rather Glaive. Zipnix, of course, being the sole defender of the B site. And he will need to put up a very solid defense. Very soon, the smoke being deployed by him, and Astralis, they're going to be forced to fight up against this. But look at this, Zipnix is moving forward. He's thinking about moving into the smoke itself, but there's so much utility left in the hands of EnVyUS. Those Molotovs will be put to good use. The flashbangs completely blinding out the Danes. And Glaive, he's just ready with a pop flash. They need to rotate Device over. Device finally makes the call to do so. Would have been great to have him there a little bit earlier, but RPK moving forward. He's been fully flashed up by his own teammate. That will be the bane of his existence. Sixer finds one. Zipnix going down, but Glaive has managed to find 2 from his little angle. Almost gets a 3rd as well. And now it's all down to Device and Dupree. Both the Ds. Will they be able to get this? Device, go for the shot, Device. Doesn't quite go for it yet, but he will. Oh, look at that. Sixer is able to get the better of him through the smoke. Dissipation just favoring Sixer, unfortunately, but look at that. Despite a heroic effort coming out from Glaive, unfortunately, they're not able to close out the round, and EnVyUS, off the back of that, they will probably be able to take this 9-6, honestly. Assuming Astralis saves up in the next round. Well, they don't have to. They've got some money. They could buy up with the UMPs, and they've got a decent loss bonus as well. They could buy up in the next round with some UMPs and maybe a Mag 7. If you can't tell, I'm a big advocate of the Mag 7 on Inferno. And it does look like they have managed to find one final buy, but with that being said, how effective will that be? Device, he's got the AWP one more time. Can he find the early on frag with it? Doesn't look like it. EnVyUS, they've just been so good at making sure that they've been getting the entry frag every single time. Scream and RPK have been phenomenal. Both of them sitting at 10 frags. Both of them mostly having entries to their name. And Astralis, despite their very good earlier performance in the first 6 or 7 rounds, they just haven't been able to capitalize to the same extent. And now you've got the 4-player stack over towards A, because they realize that so far Envy has consistently found the entry frag on the A site, unless RPK goes on the lurk, which looks like that might be on the menu for him as well. But Device is the defender of the B site. And I don't think that he's going to be losing that one more time. Sixer. Ready to go for the execute, but the flashbangs coming in. The counter flashes are great from Astralis this time around, and 40 seconds left on the clock. They need to be able to shut this down. XMS has found his way onto the side, finds the kill as well, but it gets traded out. But Happy, look at him. He's found 2 of his own, and now it's a 4 versus 2. He jumps through the smoke, but it doesn't matter because Scream, he's on point so far. And he will continue to be the one-tap king for this map at least, as EnVyUS. They're looking to take this 9-6. Device will be allowed to save. No, never mind. Happy finds him, takes him down. Astralis are not given any semblance of mercy from the French. And this is troublesome. This is worrying because EnVyUS, if they're able to win this one, well then, Astralis, they might have to fight with them again in tiebreakers unless the head-to-head comes into play where EnVyUS will automatically win and go forward into the top 6. But this is a very interesting situation that they're finding themselves in. And they're feeling the heat. They're feeling EnVyUS breathing down their necks. And EnVyUS this time around, again, they're just playing a little bit further back. They're feeling that Astralis might finally want to get aggressive at the CT side. And I have to say, that's one thing that Astralis have not really been great at doing, is providing that CT side aggression, and perhaps that's where they need to try and step things up the next time after they've watched this demo. Perhaps that's where they need to be a little bit more creative. And look at that, Zipnix, that's what I'm talking about. The flashbang coming out from Glaive allows him to finally get that first kill, and that's RPK going down. That's a big kill for them to get. And Device and Kirby, they need to be able to find so many kills, and doesn't look like they'll be able to find any more than one. Dupree, last man on the A side before backup arrives, and backup is arriving, but it's not fast enough. He's managed to find one, but no. Happy jumping up will take him down regardless. It's XMS who's got the bomb down. Sixer with a no scope at close range leaves Zipnix alone in a 1 versus 2. He's creeping forward. The Molotov will be blocking his path significantly, and Happy shuts him down. 9-6 EnVyUS. They're able to take the half. And the question is, what does Astralis have to bring to the table on the T side? I'm very quickly going to switch overlays because I need to change a few console settings to make sure that a few problems that arise when Counter-Strike does in fact restart. Oh, things are fine. We'll be right back very soon with the second half. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere.
Counter-terrorists win.
innanzi a lui ne stanno molti, vanno a vicenda ciascuna al giudizio, dicono e ordinano e poi son giù volte.
Counter-terrorists win. Counter-terrorists win.
And we are back with the second half of EnVyUS going up against Astralis. EnVyUS already having upset Astralis on train. And it looks like they're in a great position to do so again on Inferno. RPK and Scream, they've been hitting shots like it's nobody's business. And let's see if they're able to do so again on that pistol round. Well, it's going to be Astralis leading the charge over towards that B side. Grenade will be doing some significant damage, but they're able to back themselves off. So XMS only cops about 8 damage to himself. Nothing too big. And not going to be too disappointed by that. Kirby, though, he's looking to get feisty. He's looking to get aggressive. Instead, backs himself off. And Astralis, they're doing what teams generally do on the pistol round. Pardon me, on the pistol round, just trying to get some map control, spread their wings a little bit and try and find that early on close range shot with the Glock. But doesn't look like EnVyUS has any intention of letting them get that. Bomb has made its way over towards that A site where Happy will be trying to shut it down. Glaive still has got possession of that one flashbang. That will be incredibly useful if he's able to get it down to the right place. Where's that smoke supposed to go? Glaive. Wait a second, I want to see where the smoke goes. Oh, okay, blocking out. Whoops. Okay. Really not sure what that's about, but hey, Twixter WWW is right there. But in the meanwhile, Zipnix has found 2 kills for himself. RPK trades it out. Kirby finds another as well. It's 4 versus 2. And GoTV is still bugged for some reason. Great stuff, finally. Scream with USB. The problem with his position is that he's very likely not going to check for Kirby, and Kirby should be able to find him, but never mind. Scream turns around and turns it into 3 versus 2. However, without the kid, this is not going to be possible for them. All Astralis needs to do is just hold their angles, wait for them to push out, and already there isn't enough time for them to be able to go for the defuse. At most, Scream can try and get some money for himself, and that's going to be all nice and well to line up his pockets a little bit. Saves his armor as well, moving into the next round. So if the CTs want to go for a force buy, then it's definitely possible, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. Scream can pick up a UMP if he wants to. I assume he wouldn't be going for the head armor regardless, just sticks to the, maybe just stick to the, no, he is. Chooses to invest an entire 1,000 into it, surprisingly enough. Normally, I would expect him to just stick to the Kevlar, maybe pick up a UMP, throw a pistol over towards Sixer so that he can go for the no-buy and go for the AWP in the fourth round. But instead, he chooses to go for the deagle instead, and I don't particularly like that. He hasn't been very effective with that pistol so far, but perhaps finally it's time for him to show his true colors. He's been very good with the AK and its one-taps, but Sixer, unfortunately, he's going to have his way blocked off. RPK on the side. He needs to be able to shut a few people down. They haven't noticed him yet, but Device will take him down with that MP7. Glaive does the same. And the SMG is really coming into their own. Not a single player dead so far from Astralis. And they're backing themselves off. XMS and Scream, again, they want to save that Kevlar. They want to save that utility, the pistols, into the next round. And Scream would love to be able to pick up a gun from one of the fallen corpses. But look at that. Device goes down. Scream now holding the angle for another one. He needs to be careful, though. He's going to be brought down. They're coming in from all sides. Pulls out the deagle. Will not be able to connect with the shots just quite yet. The flashbang will not catch him out. Will he find one? No, he won't. It's to the chest. But unfortunately, that's not what Scream was looking for. 9-8. And EnVyUS, well, they're not able to pull out that forced by victory. But Astralis, they're looking good. 4 SMGs are maintained. Glaive, surprisingly enough, is going to be the man picking up the rifle. Not every day of the week that you see the in-game leader being the prioritized man, but Glaive has been having a great game so far, and he can definitely frag with the best of them. Happy trying to go for that quick headshot, but RPK will be the man to get it as always. Finds another one as well, and that's 5 versus 3. 6 keeping himself alive at 3 HP is going to be consequential. Dupree finds one though, and that will be the A side given over. The 4-man stack over towards B will prevail to some extent. They're able to retrieve 2 UMPs for their trouble. And that does make things a little bit more interesting moving into this retake situation. They're actually going for this. They're not saving those SMGs. They say they don't want any of that. They want to be able to have some rifles moving in, with Zipniks already finding 2 right there. That makes things troublesome. That makes things nigh impossible. And RPK goes for the spray, finds it. It's 3 kills for him so far in this round. If they're able to get anything out of it, it's definitely due to him. And maybe just going for some exits over here, as Sixer says, I don't need a silencer, as he will take them down. Dupree keeps himself alive. Sixer will go down. 9-9. And EnVyUS, they're able to get quite a few kills for themselves without any investment whatsoever, so that's quite nice for them. And unfortunately, the only guns that were really dropped were SMGs, with the exception of 1 AK. And that's where Astralis, now they go for the full buy. Dupree maintaining that UMP perhaps. No, Glaive now finally being the one to pick it up. 9-9, and if EnVyUS loses this one out, this may be reason to call for a tactical pause very, very soon. The AWP in the hands of Sixer is positioned towards that A side, not going towards B, where we saw Device having some massive impact in a few rounds. And Happy is just keeping that same old position over towards apartments. The problem with this is that Happy has always typically had the label being attached to him of being very easy to read. On the T side, he is almost always their dedicated lurk. This time around, of course, it was RPK, but generally that's the role he plays. And on the CT side, again, towards the apartments, on the exact same position, not really changing things up too effectively. RPK in the pit, Happy on top of the railings, and they've got that crossfire going for them. A little bit unfortunate. Scream gets boosted up though. And this is where Astralis, if they throw out this smoke, they're not going to be able to utilize it to the greatest extent. That's why they're going over towards that A side instead. Dupree finds one. That will be Sixer. Down towards Arch, taken down. RPK throws out that anti-flash. Backs himself off. That incendiary will not be able to take him down. Dupree though will. As Happy trades it out immediately. Zipniks trying to find the Frenchman, and he will be successful in doing so. XMS and Scream, again, the 2 players to save. Seems to be the story of the second half so far. But will Kirby allow them to do so is the question. Doesn't quite, well, does look like he won't have too much of a say in that. As XMS finds 2. And I'm out of water. Huh. Oh, beautiful stuff, XMS. Oh, that was lovely. Lovely stuff. Great shot coming out from him. The wall bang. Just knowing that Glaive would be in that position. Quick scoping him down. 3 kills coming out from him. Keeping the Astralis economy under lock and key. And EnVyUS now, they're going for a bit of a quasi-buy, getting some money back. Down to 2,000. Sixer with the AWP is hoping to find a kill or so, or a kill or two, maintaining the same angle that he does at Arch. And Astralis have been very successful on their T side so far, and they're looking to continue that. 11-9 will be the scoreline after this, but the question is, can Sixer actually keep a hold of that AWP moving into the next round? Because that will allow them to buy so much more utility if he is able to throw a gun over towards a teammate. That's what will allow them to get a few more incendiaries, perhaps. And so far, Astralis, they've really been left to do whatever they want once the smokes have been deployed. The incendiary placement hasn't really been great for them just quite yet. Now the question is, what is Sixer doing? Sixer is just staying over towards that A site, says, you know what, if someone comes, that's great, otherwise I will save up that AWP. Scream finds a kill for himself. Happy wants to push through with the 5 HP that he does have. The incendiary will be unsuccessful courtesy of the smoke, and Zipnex, the flashbang, the smoke rather, being interpreted as a flash, and Screams managed to find another one for himself. Sixer took down Kirby, and now it's Zipnex in a 1 versus 4, and even the god of clutch will not be able to get that one through. 10-10, and EnVyUS are able to take advantage of Scream's deagle finally. And Astralis, where they were looking to get that first 5-0, have found their economy reset instead. So the force buy is what comes out. And this is where it becomes so important that Sixer did, of course, get that 3k with the AWP while he was saving, because otherwise Astralis would have had money to go for another buy, and EnVyUS wouldn't really be in the clear to get a lead anytime soon. Device might be flushed out by this incendiary right now as well. Thankfully, it will not spread to him though. And Astralis, they're playing this in a very interesting way, with using Device as more of a lurk role and using Device to make sure that they are going to... Oh, where is this going? The same smoke as before to smoke off library, perhaps? No, this looks to be an arch smoke, if I'm not wrong. Taking control of Archway very, very quickly. RPK is the only man who can really stop this right now. Glaive is considering pushing through, but they don't really have flashbangs to spare. Dupree's found a deagle shot though, and that Sixer going down. The AWP will not be effective at all. RPK rotates around, brings it back to a 4 versus 4, and now it's all on Glaive to be able to find this quick shot. Happy, RPK, Scream. The scoreboard is lit, and it's all with blue. (11-10). Astralis, if you lose this round, that's where I expect to see a tactical timeout. And the discrepancy between Astralis and EnVyUS is huge. I mean, really, despite Astralis doing a decent job with getting the early on first frags, it's completely different from when RPK was doing it, because RPK was just completely monopolizing the map. He was terrorizing it. He was winning every single aim duel that there was, and Scream chimed in as well towards the end of the first half. And compare that to how Astralis is doing it, relying on utility. Yes, that's definitely a very effective way, but with EnVyUS's sheer firepower and decent utility usage, that's much more terrifying to be able to play up against when they're running on all cylinders like they are right now. But The question is, will they be able to continue to do so? And Scream looks like the answer is going to be a big yes, as he's found one, goes for the second, will not connect with it, but the flashbang while he retreats will allow him to do so. Now it's all on Happy. Unfortunately, he gets taken down immediately, and Sixa, trying to reclaim that frag, will not be able to do so. The Molotov will force him to push forward aggressively into the crosshair of Glaive. And Zipnix, he's smoked off Scream, he's smoked off XMS, and the two players who managed to save practically every single time might be doing the same. Might be doing the same indeed. The Device, he's having none of it. 3 kills for him in that round. Astralis reset EnVyUS. But the money isn't gone just quite yet. The money's still very, very solid, especially with XMS, Scream, and Happy. Well, basically everyone except for RPK has got more than enough money to work with. However, EnVyUS, if they lose this one, that story will change completely. Astralis will be in such a great position to be able to take it forward. And I have to say, the previous round, I don't really approve of Sixer's decision to move forward and isolate himself from his teammates once the Molotov was thrown. Besides Glaive already being positioned in a great spot to take him down, it's also just a simple fact that you have no backup. As an AWP, you probably want to back off and wait for your teammates to get there. Admittedly, you could say that the bomb might be being planted at that time. He was trying to get the bomb planted down and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's a massive risk to take, and playing it safe would more likely than not have given them a higher chance to win that round. You can boost over the smoke that was thrown later on as well. You can try and find that player over towards apartments. There's a lot of things you can try and do with a few more teammates there. Unfortunately, he doesn't wait for them. He gets taken down. And because of that, EnVyUS are in a very difficult situation if they don't win this round. Have to say though, Happy has not been doing a great job over towards that B side on the CT side so far in the second half. Can't really remember him getting any kills whatsoever, to be perfectly honest. And putting him in such a key role where he has to shut down the apartment side almost on his own is not really working out for them. EnVyUS, perhaps, if things aren't going well for them, perhaps they want to switch up their roles a little bit, get a bit flexible. Maybe put RPK in that spot and let Happy be the man setting up the crossfire with Sixa and his AWP. Scream smoke does go a little bit off. I think that's got a gap. Yep, that's got a gap in it. Device can't take advantage of that though with the angle that he has. Happy's just getting ready to smoke out apartment, back himself off now, and I like this decision from him. He's recognizing that things are a bit hard, and Glaive, courtesy of a misthrown smoke, he will actually go down. Zipnix gets tagged down to 12 HP. Dupree moves forward, tries to go for the quick one-tap. Sixer is holding the angle, so if Dupree goes for this peek, oh, never mind. Sixer unscopes at the wrong time, and now Dupree, will he be able to get this shot through? Doesn't look like it. Yes, he does. Happy, in the meanwhile, has managed to find 3 kills so far. I talked about him needing to step up or rotate out, and it looks like he's chosen to do the former. Dupree picks up the bomb, finds 1 kill, can't quite connect with the spray down. On to the second. EnVyUS, they're trading rounds, and the problem with that is that they're not really trading them very effectively. They're not really keeping too many players alive. You've got Happy and Scream. Yes, they've got a fair chunk of money. But Astralis, they're not doing too badly on the economy side themselves. On the T side, it's a lot easier and it's a lot more forgiving when it comes to your economy. So Astralis, if this trade game continues with the rounds, then they are the ones who will come out on top. And this close towards the end of the second half, you can't afford to let that happen. EnVyUS needs to start stringing together these rounds. And the B side, again, Astralis looks like they want to move over, but it's not really been very effective for them so far. Their utility is fairly lacking. They can't use the Molotovs to try and flush out oranges or second oranges. Scream is boosted up, so the smoke will not really be doing too much to him. I'm interested to see when they do choose to go in. It does look like Scream should be able to shut them down. Indeed, he sees one, can't get the spray down. Scream, what are you doing? Kirby finally goes down. He even delivers a few shots into his teammates' back. XMS is regretting boosting him up at this point, but Scream now wants to push through the smoke. He's made the rotation over, but he reveals his position. Perhaps not the wisest of decisions. Sixer, no AWP this time around, only the UMP to work with in a 4 versus 4. Astralis have taken complete control over the side, and they're in a great position to be able to take this round away despite the numbers being equal on both sides. Dupree will be able to bring down Scream, but he gets traded out immediately after. Zipnix finds another one. Could be a third. Indeed it is. But Sixer comes out big. The device, he's going to reveal his position. Does Sixer have enough time? Doesn't look like it. And the bomb will be defused. He's got the time. 13-11 down to 0.1 seconds. What a performance from Sixer so far. Really just managing to save the game for them with the 3k that he had on the terrorist side onto the bomb diffusers, and this time around just 3 more kills to make sure that they can get the defuse with only 0.1 seconds left on the clock. That is some great play coming out from him. And Device now pushing through, almost takes down Scream right now. Indeed, actually, Kirby will be able to take him down. XMS trying to go for the double spray. Will find one, but the second will be able to retrieve that M4, move forward. And is ready to push through. Dupree has got that deagle shot. And suddenly Astralis looks like they might be the ones to be coming out on top. Oh, never mind. Sixer, what are you doing? Pulls out the P250. Could be big. Zipnix. His flashbang will not be doing too much. They're backing off. They say, we've got the numbers advantage. We've got control of the A site. And will Dupree be able to shut him down right now? Yes, he will. Happy goes down. Sixer. Can he pull out one more 1v3 out of the bag with the AWP? Doesn't look like that's possible. Might just want to save. With the money being as low as it is, that will be the decision he makes. But I talked about how the CTs can't afford to trade rounds. This is exactly the problem that you face when you can't string these rounds together. One eco, one mistake, and it's gone. Zipnix is taken down. The smoke might be allowing him to buy some more time for himself. The flashbang will not be very effective. He's just sitting in the smoke, and Glaive realizes that they're trying to close in on him, but he's managed to find his way out through the back line. Sixer, what an absolute legend he is. This performance from him, it's spectacular so far. Really a pleasure to watch. And again, we're going to see EnVyUS stacking up probably on the B side. Throw Sixer on the A solo. Maybe, actually, never mind. Keep Sixer on the B side. RPK instead will be the tank on the A side. Sixer pushing forward aggressively. Kirby is not going to walk into his crosshair. Not yet, at least. Connects with a shot onto Glaive, but it's through the wall, and Glaive will be safe. Four people left on Astralis, with 2 of them being incredibly low right now. EnVyUS still has a chance of being able to take this round away if Happy can find a few more kills, and indeed he can. Zipnix though, 13 HP on him. If he can't take down Happy, then this round is practically lost for them. Dupree is the only man who's even close to healthy, and now Happy, he's got his hands on an AK. Does look like he's more inclined towards saving it though. If he just held that angle a little while longer, would have allowed him to be able to take down Zipnix. Instead, now Zipnix might be able to be the victor in this duel. As Happy is desperately trying to save, desperately trying to find some some exit frags. And Device might give him just that, as he will be taken down. Zipnix all the way backed off. Will reveal himself as well. And Happy, spectacular job by him, honestly. Dupree being the only man left alive, he saves an M4 into the next round. And the money on Astralis will be brought down very, very low because of that. And that means, again, if EnVyUS is able to win a single round, they should be able to take this game away, or at least take this to map point. And that's where Astralis will be fighting for overtime. That's where things get very tricky for the Danes. Once again, Astralis is looking over towards that A site. Sixer though, he's the man holding the charge. While holding the angle, preventing the charge. RPK finds another from the exact same spot that he was before. Sixer, it's a second for him, and it will be a third as he sees the shadow. But Glaive, he dodges a no-scope and will be able to move forward into the loving arms of RPK as he smothers him to death. 14-13, and EnVyUS off the back of one AK, an AWP, and an on-fire Sixer are able to take it to 14-13. And Astralis, without any money, they need to decide, do we go for the force buy? Because they've got 6,000 on Dupree, they've got 3850 on Device. That is a handful of UMPs for everyone. And if they don't buy in this round, then the next round they will not be able to go for a proper buy either. It's going to be a broken buy. So EnVyUS, off of that one round, they may have just won the game. And who would have thought Inferno, we would have EnVyUS on the verge of removing Astralis from the top 6 of the EPL, depending on how the tiebreaker system, etc. is, of course, formulated. And I have to say, it all comes down to RPK in the first half, and second half, it's been a game for Sixer, completely and utterly. Oh, Scream, he's been run boosted up forward. He's going to be able to go forward very, very quickly, and this, well, decides not to use that. Could have been interesting if that was Sixer instead, though. Device shoots his own teammate, unfortunately, down to 66. That's Glaive. Already not feeling too happy with only a Tech 9 to his name. And Astralis did, of course, choose to buy up. It's not a horrible buy, but EnVyUS are definitely going to be kicking themselves if they lose to this. Smokes are being deployed in Astralis. They're just waiting things out. Device gets very lucky that he doesn't get sprayed down by Scream. Happy still over towards that A side. They've only got 2 players here. They need to go for the rotations very soon. XMS finds one. Can Scream find more though? He's got one of his own. Backs himself off. The smoke will allow him to do so. But the spray through the smoke will not be successful just quite yet. He's trying to go for the wall bang. But it doesn't really matter. 4 versus 3. The numbers are in favor of EnVyUS, but they don't know where Glaive is. And that will be the bane of their existence. Glaive finds one. Can he find the second with the Tech 9? He's holding the angle, but doesn't look like that will be possible. Happy turns it into a 3 versus 1. Dupree edging his way forward. Can he prevent this bomb from being defused? The flashbang will say no. And 15-13, EnVyUS are in a prime position to secure a 2-0 victory over the best team in the world. Who would have known? Tech 9s all over the place. A UMP for Dupree. And Envy, they've got to be so happy. So incredibly happy. It is the final round, potentially. Astralis, they're looking to regain some honor. They've got to go for a show match versus Virtus Pro and E-League Studios very soon. They want their trip to America to consist of more than just one match, so they want to be in Dallas. They want to be in Texas. But will EnVyUS allow them that opportunity, or will EnVyUS take it away from them? 3 men at the B site. The incorrect read has been taken. They've got a lot of map control, but it doesn't matter because RPK, he's found one, will be traded out immediately. Dupree was being stopped so far by the smoke, but now he might be stopped by Scream instead. Never mind, Dupree is winning all the battles in the world. It's a 3 versus 3 and the rotations are coming out, but perhaps a bit too quickly. Because Kirby backs himself off, thinking of going towards that B side, but it's only a fake Sixer. Look at this, it's a double mind game coming out. Sixer needs to make his way in through very quickly. He's got the AWP holding the angle. Now he knows where they are. Will actually push through the smoke. What a bold play to go for. Sixer is hungry and he will be fed. Dupree's managed to get so many kills so far. Can he turn it into an ace to secure this round? He needs to do so. He's got a UMP to work with, and this is, oh, look at this, a flashbang might catch both of them all out. Never mind, only catches himself out, and it will be XMS to shut him down. EnVyUS are in your top 6, most likely, depends on the rest of the games as well, but who would have known? They take it 2-0 over Astralis, and beautiful stuff coming out from them. Definitely did not expect that. They had the potential and they showed it in train. But definitely not the outcome that we were expecting in going into this game. And a lot of people will be very disappointed by the performance that Astralis brought to the table. But I have to say, EnVyUS, Sixer, RPK, they went insane in Inferno. And in train, we just saw them playing great fundamental CS, not really letting Astralis break onto the bomb sites properly. And things are looking up for them. The T side was incredibly effective from EnVyUS in Inferno. And the CT side, Sixer went insane. RPK and Scream kept their level consistent, and that's all that they really needed to do. Happy wasn't really showing up in the beginning on, and that's why Astralis seemed to be dominating their own T side so effectively. But then suddenly Happy starts hitting his shots over towards apartments. Suddenly things just start working in the favor of EnVyUS in every possible way, and EnVyUS, surprisingly enough, they 2-0 Astralis and ignored the score on the top right. I actually completely forgot that I had to change that. But regardless, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great evening of Counter-Strike. We're going to be live again in a few hours with Optic going up against Complexity. Should be a very fun game. Stay tuned. Well, don't really stay tuned. You should go away for now, but come back in about 3 or so hours and we'll be live again. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can follow me at GGTime on Twitter. And with that being said, peace out. I love how I say that every single time, expecting that I'm going to click the transition and it's going to be the best ending ever. But unfortunately, I always misclick and I never manage to do it right. This time I will though. Peace out.